Let's talk about how you can get way better cinematic filmmaking shots with applicable tips that you can do right now. I've been there. You spend hours and hours on YouTube and online trying to learn all these different filmmaking techniques, but when you head back home and try and film your own things, it just doesn't look anything like the stuff that you've seen online, and it's frustrating to say the least. But I have learned 9 things that I feel are critical to improve your content as a beginner and an intermediate filmmaker, and they're things that you wouldn't really know how to research or things that you should even learn. But once I share these with you, I'm pretty sure you'll never film the same way again. And if you're wondering where I am right now, I am incredibly excited to say that what you are seeing right now is the new headquarters for this YouTube channel. It's going to be my ultimate dream filmmaking space where I can create the most amazing YouTube studio ever. Right now it's an empty warehouse. It's all on the vlog channel. We're doing behind the scenes videos of this whole process, as well as where this beautiful Porsche came from. We just went on an amazing adventure to get it. The vlog channel is going to be linked below. If not, and you're just interested in these tutorials, you're in the right place. Tip 1 is going to be what's in front of the lens makes your shot look expensive. It's so commonly misunderstood that everybody puts all of this focus, effort, and energy into what's happening there, that side of the camera, the settings, the lenses, and all of these different things. And yes, those things can be important, but what you put in front of your lens can make a world of difference in terms of the final look of your shot. Lighting, locations, models, props, and wardrobe all contribute to how that end result is going to look, much more than what f-stop or shutter speed you might be shooting in. If you rock up at an absolutely beautiful location with the perfect lighting conditions, amazing scenery and props, you can point a potato at that scene and it is most likely going to end up looking amazing. Something else that I've been experimenting with lately, underexpose instead of overexpose. Now look, obviously if you get the ideal perfect exposure, that's going to be best. But if you have to choose in a specific scenario whether you want to overexpose or underexpose, I always find that underexposing my footage is going to give you a better look. Maybe you're in a scenario where you're shooting with some crazy backlight through a window and your subject is in shadow. Going underexposed almost always gives me a much better look than going for that blown out highlight look. It ends up making your footage look much more rich and dynamic. In my opinion, it's always lenses over bodies. If you have that gear itch and you feel like you need to upgrade your gear to get a more professional look and you're having trouble deciding where you should invest that money, I would highly suggest putting it towards lenses before camera bodies. Investing in quality lenses will make a much bigger difference on your footage than spending that money on camera bodies. Put an amazing lens on a pretty mediocre camera and you can end up with an absolutely incredible result. One of my absolute favorite things to do when filming, either in a naturally lit environment or a studio lit scene like this, is to make the most of this silver lining or hair light. It can create an incredibly interesting look, and by placing your light source behind your subject, you end up with this really beautiful little silver lining, separating your subject from the background even more than if you had that light facing straight onto them. Having this smoke machine makes such a cool look. I just need to be careful not to overdo it, but it looks so cool. This is probably overdoing it. Oftentimes, more simple is more fun. When we're starting out as beginner creators, we often strive to get bigger and bigger productions with bigger crew, crazier gear, doing bigger missions to find expensive looking locations. And that's awesome in a lot of times, but in some cases, sometimes having it super simple is by far the most fun way for me to create content. When it's just me and one other person, a camera on a gimbal or a handheld rig, and you can just run around and capture everything that you want without any setups, overcomplicating things, you end up with some absolutely beautiful results. And it means that you don't have to fuss with all the extra bits and bobs, often at times just getting in the way of creating those really beautiful shots that you're after. Time trumps almost everything. When I was first starting out, I would spend weeks being such a perfectionist, trying to create a single project. I would spend so long on the actual creation process, on aspects of the film that didn't really contribute much to the end result. Once we got into editing, it was even worse, and I would spend weeks on one project just trying to get something done. And the problem with this is that, first of all, often all of your efforts are spent in the first 80% of that production. And that final 20% that you can spend weeks on have very little return comparatively to that first 80%. And if I was to go back in time, I would spend far less time on the things that don't matter and put more effort into things that really make a difference. Creating systems that will allow you to streamline things will also really help you, and that goes right into our next tip, which is having a space for your work to live. If you are a creator or someone that wants to create films and get clients and build a brand and make money from this, having a dedicated portfolio space is so much more important than just posting random things on YouTube or Instagram, because you can't specify the exact content that potential clients will see. They just see a whole body of work, which is some random things, or you posting videos that have nothing to do with the brand that you may be pitching to. Having a dedicated space where you can curate your absolute cream of the crop best content to be all housed in that online business card is huge. And speaking of streamlining systems, Durable, the sponsor of today's video, is an AI website builder that allows you to build a professional website in less time than it's taken me to explain this specific tip to you. Not only does it build the whole thing for you in less than 30 seconds, anything that it does create is fully customizable by you, so you can change things to be the exact way that you want them. What's even more amazing is you can get the starter plan for only 12 bucks a month, and you get a free domain with that. Further customizing your website means zero design skills or coding skills, and it's all super intuitive, and you can move everything around to build the perfect curated custom website to get your business or yourself as a filmmaker online right now. It will take you less time than it's taken me to say this ad read, and you can get 30% off of your first 3 months by using the code or link in my description. Let's get to that next tip. Stop lighting against your natural light and start motivating it. When I was starting out, I would look at a room and take very little consideration of where my natural light source was already coming from, and just set up how I wanted to shoot and how I wanted to kind of frame up my scene. The problem with this is that, especially when you're a beginner and you maybe don't have the most powerful, crazy light setups or light modifiers to control your natural light, you end up kind of fighting a losing battle, and you would be far better off just motivating the natural light that you're already working with. Even like in this scene right now, I'm filming this way, and then I do have a lot of lights, but it's also because I have this natural light coming from above here, and I don't have any of those windows on that side. So I immediately decided I will shoot this way because I have this natural light coming in this way. And I'm not saying that you can never shoot into natural light. If you have the right setup, lights and accessories to do that, you can also come up with great looks. But when you're starting out and you maybe don't have the most crazy expensive gear, I would highly recommend using that light to further motivate your scene instead of clashing against it. Small lights or even no lights, you can still create an amazing scene if you use what you naturally have to create that specific condition that you want. Never fight against the light, you're always gonna lose. Now, before we get to that final exercise, let's cover the last tip, tip 9. And this is to surround yourself with other creators. See, in my opinion, one of the best ways that you can learn how to do any sort of skill is by being surrounded by someone else doing the same thing. They can ideally be a little bit further along in the journey, being better than you, so that you can learn their processes and systems that might have taken them so long to have figured out, but you can learn extremely quickly when you are in a job shadow style scenario and seeing how they do the things that they do. It doesn't even have to be someone that is better or more experienced than you. You can learn from people on the same playing field as you or even below, because they might have learned a different skill set that you might have not learned yet, or maybe they watched some certain video that was extremely helpful and you guys can share. But surrounding yourself with other creators is one of the easiest ways to learn any sort of skill, which is one of the reasons why I create a lot of raw style video tutorials where I show you how I actually film things without any fancy editing or stuff like that, because it's like my best way that I can show all of the people that watch my videos how I can do like a job shadow. It's also a huge reason why the majority of my filmmaking course is very raw style and hands-on, showing people how to do that like stuff that they otherwise wouldn't really get exposed to. It's different to tell you a tip than to actually show you how I'm doing something. If you do want to see the filmmaking course, the waitlist is open for it. Like I mentioned before, it's very limited, but I would love to see some of you applying and working one-on-one with me to up your filmmaking skills and all of your YouTube skills actually. So let's get to that final exercise that you can do to really make your footage stand out fast. Go and find your absolute favorite creator, the creator that has the best shots in your opinion. Their things that they're doing in their scenes look absolutely amazing. Maybe it's one of my videos, maybe it's someone else's videos. Go and find them and literally take a screenshot of some of your favorite scenes. You can jump over into your editing software like Premiere and you can literally put these shots next to your shot as a comparison shot. Or you can just open it and look at it and then look at your shots. But the important thing here is that you really see how someone else's work stands up against your own and you can compare the two. You can see what's making their one maybe look different from yours or better than yours, what certain things or elements that are included in their shots that don't line up with the shots of your own that you aren't completely happy with. And once you can start to figure that out, and you can really see the difference so night and day like that, it's extremely helpful. So go and screenshot. It can even be from movies, maybe your favorite documentary. It can be from anything. Take those screenshots and directly compare them to your own shots that you've got on a recent project that you put a lot of effort into. That's going to be it for this one. Remember, if you want to see more about this whole warehouse and craziness, as well as the 2-day adventure that we went on to get this, that's all on the vlog channel. And remember that if you are a creator or filmmaker or entrepreneur, you should be getting yourself and business online, and you can do that with Durable in literally 30 seconds. And you get 30% off your 3-month plan, as well as a free domain and so many other goodness in there. So go and check it out. Other than that, I'm excited to get this warehouse going. Have fun. Bye.